Welcome in the 14th episode. Today we will implement the line checking logic. So anytime we place the shape on our grid and we complete the line, we're going to remove the line and we're going to make space on our grid. If you want to help support this channel, hit the subscribe button below this video, turn on notification so you will not miss any future episode I release. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, let's open our project and let's go to the scene and open the game scene. Now I want to show you exactly what we're going to do. So first thing, we need to basically check after we place any of the shape on the grid if we have completed the horizontal or vertical line. My lines are not really straight, but that's fine. So we want to check every single line. So in order to do that, we first of all need to capture the index for the horizontal line. So the indexes for the horizontal line, as you remember from the previous episodes, will be starting from 0. So the first horizontal line will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so as you see, the number represents each index of each line. So from number 0, we're gonna check the line down, number 1, number 2, 3, and so on. We don't have the same problem for the vertical line, as we already stacked our data array to represent this structure, so we can simply just check these lines across. And we have also created the data for checking the completed squares, but the squares we're gonna take a look after in the next episode. So today we're just gonna concentrate on this horizontal and then vertical line. So once the player complete any of this line, we're gonna remove every single square from this line and make the shape disabled. I will stop this project. Let me actually remove everything. And now let's go to our scripts, and then let's go to our game, grid, and then line indicator. Okay, so in our line indicator class, we will have to add one more array. So right below the square data array, I will just put another array, which will be hidden in the inspector. So I will just put the attribute hide in inspector, and then let's make this array public. Int, and I will just call it column indexes will be equal to new int, and this array will be of the size of 9 because we have 9 horizontal lines and we want to put our indexes. So as you remember from my drawing, the first one will be 0, then 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so this is going to be our array. So this indexes will be representing the index for our horizontal line. Let's save everything now. Okay, and now let's go to our grid square class. So inside this class we will have to add 2 more functions. It's going to be very small functions. So first one will be when we want to deactivate our square. So below the activate square, I will just add another public function. So public void, and this is going to be the deactivate. Okay, and this is going to be very simple function. So we want to grab our activate image, and we want to call the game object dot set active, and we want to set it to false. Okay, so we just want to deactivate our active image, and then we want to create another function right below, and I will just call it public void, and I will call it clear occupied. Clear occupied. And then inside this function we want to restart our selected variable. So let's call selected will be equal to false, and then square occupied will be equal to false. Okay, and that's it for now. Let's save everything. And now we can go back to our grid class. So let's open the grid class. And then let's find our function check if shapes can be placed on the grid. So this function, and right below this function, so this is going to be right at the end, I will add one more function, which will be void, and I will call it check if completed line. Check if completed line. The name is maybe not the best. You can name it however you like. Okay, and inside this function we're gonna check if after placing the shape we have completed any of the horizontal or the vertical line. So first of all, we need to grab the line data. So I will create the list. So list of the integer array. Okay, because we wanna grab the list of the lines, and then I will call it lines. Will be equal to new list of integers, and then first of all we want to check, and then first of all we want to loop through all of the horizontal lines, but I think I have forgot to add one more function inside our line indicator. So let's quickly save everything here. We're gonna come back to this function, but before we carry on with this function we need to go back to our line indicator, and then we will need one more function there. Okay, and right below the array we have created, I will add one more function, so public, and we're gonna return the int array, and this is gonna be the get vertical line. And then int square index. Okay, so this function will be basically returning the vertical line. So if we, let's say, pass, let's go back to here, if we, let's say, pass index 9, we're gonna get the whole line, the whole vertical line. If we, let's say, pass index 49, we're gonna get this line. Okay, and so on. For any number, we're gonna returning the complete line. Inside this function, let's first of all put int array line will be equal to new int of size 9, because we have 9 elements in the line, and then I will put var square position column will be equal to, and over here we want to call another function which we don't have yet, so I will call it get square position, and we will pass our square index. Okay, let's actually quickly create this function before we carry on with this implementation. So right above this function I will add another one which will be private. We want to return the pair, so it's gonna be int and int. So if you want to return multiple values from the function, you can put these braces, and then you can reference to these values as item 1 and item 2, so you will see that in a minute. So this function will be called get square position, and we want to pass int square index, and then int position row to be equal to -1, and then int position column will be equal to -1, and then we want to put the for loop, so for int row is equal to 0, row is less than 9 because we have 9 elements, row plus plus, and then we want to put another for loop, so for int column will be equal to 0, column is less than 9, and then column plus plus. Okay, and then we want to check if the line data at row and column will be equal to square index. Make sure you put double equal sign. So if this is the true, we want to assign our pos row to be equal to row, and pos column to be equal to column. And then at the end of this for loop, we want to put the return statement. So return, we want to open the brace, and we want to put the pos underscore row, and then pos underscore column. Make sure you put in the same order as me. So first of all, we're returning the row, then the column. Okay, so this is just to get the position of the square. So let's say we pass. Let me scroll actually up. So let's say we pass the square index number 13. So we want to get which row this square is in and which column is in. So if for the square number 13, we will return the row number 2 and then column number 4. Okay, so we know exactly the location of this square. So this is the purpose for this function. And now we can use this function in our get vertical line to actually get the index of the line which we want to get. Hopefully this is clear. So let's carry on with this function. So our square position column will be equal to get square position. Get square position. Okay, I think I just spelled it wrong. And then we want to pass our square index, and because we're returning from our function first the row then the column, we want to get the item 2. So we're just going to put dot item 2. Okay, so if you want a reference to the first element you're returning, you just can get item 1 or 2. And of course this is not void, this is var. Okay, and now we have the column for our requested square. We can go and put our for loop. So for int index is equal to 0, index is less than 9, index plus plus, and then we can put our line at index will be equal to line data at index, and then output our square column. Okay, so we're looping through every single line data, so every single index, and then we're just gonna get the square index from the column we're requesting. Hopefully this is clear. If not, just go and have a look what this line data represents, and then we want to at the end of this function return our line. Okay, so this function is returning the vertical line. Now we can save everything, and now we can go back to our grid class and finish implementing this check if completed line function. We want to loop through all of the columns, so I will put for each. We want to loop through the line indicator dot column indexes, and I will call it column. And then we want to just put line dot add, and we want to add the line indicator dot get vertical line, and we want to put the column. So basically we're just grabbing, let me switch back to the line indicator and explain you. So basically we're just looping through all of these indexes, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're looping through this first line, and then for every single index we're just grabbing the vertical line data. So we're grabbing this data, this data, this data, this data, and so on until the end, and then we're storing that in our array. Okay, so we have this clearly the completed line stored, and we're gonna do the same for the horizontal line. So I will just put these rows now, and we want to put our for loop, and then I will call it var row is equal to 0, row is less than 9, row plus plus, and then we want to call our list of integer, and this is going to be the data, will be equal to new list of integer, and the capacity will be 9. And then we want to put another for loop, so for var index equals 0, index is less than 9, index plus plus, and then we want to append our data, so data dot add, and we want to add the line indicator dot line data add row and then index. Okay, so we're gonna do exactly in reverse what we've done for the columns. So we're looping through the rows, and then for every single row we just copy the data into our data, and then we want to put the lines dot add, and we want to call the data dot to array. Okay, so we're going to convert our list to the array, and we're going to just append it at the end of our list. Hopefully this is clear. For now, that's it for this function. We're going to carry on in the second, but we need to create one more function for this checking. So below this function, I will just put another function, and this function will check every single square if the square is completed, is actually there is something displayed on it. So private void, and I will call it check if squares are completed. And we want to put our list of integers array, and I'm going to call it data, and then we want to just create a list of integer array, and I'm going to call it completed lines will be equal to new list of the integers. Okay, so let's carry on. So var lines completed will be equal to 0, and then for each we want to loop through the data, and I'm going to call it line, and then I will put the var line completed will be equal to true. So we are assuming that the line from our data is completed. So make sure this is lines and this is line. It's not the same variable, it's different. Don't make any mistake with that. And then let's put another for each. We want to loop through the line, and I'm going to call it square data, square index, and then we want to capture our comp, so var comp will be equal to grid squares at square index dot get component, and we want to get our grid square. Okay, and then we want to put the if statement. So if the comp dot square occupied is equal to false, we want to put the line completed will be equal to true. Okay, make sure you're putting this line completed, not this variable. Okay, so we're going to set this variable to be true. And then we want to put another if statement, but we want to put it outside of this for each. So outside of the for each, we want to check if line completed we want to call completed line dot add, and we want to grab our line. Okay, so hopefully this is clear. So basically we were looping through all of the data we just stacked up. So this is the line data. We're going through every single square in the certain line. We're just grabbing the grid square component, and we're checking if the occupied variable for that grid square is set to true or false. If it's for any reason any of this square is set to false, that means our line is not completed. So we should set actually this line completed to false, not true. Okay? So that means our line is not completed, so make sure you're just setting this line completed to be false. And then we are at the end of checking every single square from the line. We're just checking if our line is really completed. If it is, we're just going to append it to our list. So this list contains only the lines which are completed. So there can be more than one line. Okay, and then outside of this for each, we want to put another for each. And this time we want to loop through all of the completed lines. And I will call it line. Okay, and then we're going to do the same, very similar logic we've done previously. So var completed is equal to false. And then we want to put another for each. And we want to loop through the line. I'm going to call it square index. And then we want to grab our var comp will be equal to underscore grid square at square index dot get component, and this is going to be the grid square. And then we want to call the comp dot deactivate. Okay, so we're just going to call the function we have created at the beginning of this episode. So we're just going to disable the square, the active image on this square. And then we want to call the completed will be equal to true. Okay, then below this for each, we want to put another for each. And it's going to be exactly the same for each, so I'm just going to copy this line, paste it below. So we want to loop through the line again. And this time we want to again grab our comp. So we're just going to copy this line. But now we want to call the comp dot clear occupied. Okay, so we want to clear all of the Boolean variables from our grid square. And then at the end, so below this for each, I'm going to put another if statement. So if completed, we want to increase the line completed, lines completed plus plus. Okay, and then we want to actually return line completed. Okay, but this function, actually I think I've made a mistake, and this function, if you scroll up, this function should return the integer value, not the void. So let's check this statement and make sure we're returning the integer value. Okay, and make sure at the end we're returning this line completed variable. Okay, so now we have this check if square are completed function done. So now we can actually finish implementing our check if line is completed. Okay, so let's, below this row, let's actually, inside our check if completed line, let's actually create one more variable. So var completed lines will be equal to, and now we can grab our check if square are completed function, and we can input our lines data in it. So this function will return the number of the lines that are completed, and we're gonna make use of this variable in the later episodes. So if line completed are more than 2, we're gonna actually to do play bonus animation. Okay, so we're gonna play the bonus animation, and then based on this line numbers we're gonna increase the scores. So I'll just put another to do, add scores. Okay, so we have our function created. Now we need to actually call it from somewhere. So let's save everything. Okay, and then let's scroll up to our function check if shape can be placed, and we're gonna call it this newly created function from here. So let's go to the if statement when we're actually checking if the total square number is equal to the square index count, and then we have our if statement to check how many shapes left. And then outside of this if statement, over here, we want to call our check if completed line. Okay, I think this name is very unfortunate, so I think I'm gonna rename it. So this function will be named check if any line is completed. Okay, so I'm just gonna rename this function to be like that, and I think that's it. So make sure you call this function from our check if shape can be placed. And now we can save everything. We can go back to Unity, and now when you press play, let's try to complete any line. So let's first of all try to complete this horizontal. As you see, the line disappeared. We can place another shape in the same space, so that function works well. Okay, I'm not sure if I'll be able to complete this line. Let me actually... Okay, let's try to actually horizontal line now. So as you see, it works fine. We can add some sounds or some other effects. We're gonna do that in the later episodes. So as you see, the game is fully playable now. There are of course a lot of things missing. So as you see, I had just 2 lines straight away, the horizontal line and then vertical line, and actually this logic works by removing both of them because they both been completed. So in this situation we will display the bonus message for the player that you have double the points or whatever you like, but we're gonna do something about it because it's very exciting, like someone managed to get more than 1 line completed. There is still missing functionality for completing the square. So in this case, as you see, this square is supposed to be completed, but it's actually not disappearing. So this is the next thing we're gonna look after in the next episode. So I think that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode and you have fully working game. Now, if you have any issue implementing this logic, please leave me a comment below this video. And also, if you like this series, please consider subscribing to this channel and leave a like. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in the next episode.